Shalom, 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 everyone. Welcome to a live episode of My Take with Rosh Ya'acob. I am Rosh Ya'acob ben Abraham, Rabbi of Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. And on this channel, we discuss all kind of issues, but it all has one common denominator. It's all based off of Torah. We try to look at it all through the lens or the eye of the Torah. And tonight's show is no different. Tonight's show is actually focusing on an issue. We have brother Wes Huff. Going to be using his video. He made a video a couple of years ago claiming that Easter was in fact not pagan and he could prove it. And he was going to debunk all those people trying to say that Easter was some pagan day. And I'm like, okay. So we're going to get back into them. As you see, this is part 2. We actually started this series last week on our first Thursday episode of Questions and Answers. And we did it last week talking about Easter. And I could have ended it right there, but he has so much information that I said, no, I want to make sure that I get everything that he has up to par, because our brother is heavy on religion.
Are there any questions?
Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
And so I wanted to make sure we handled everything. I didn't want to just jump here and there and seem like I left something unquestioned or unanswered. So I wanted to jump on everything and delve into everything. So that's basically what we're going to do tonight. We're going to jump into everything and deal with that. So we're going to start off a little bit dealing with this issue. But before we get into all of that, I just wanted to remind everyone that you can like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You can like, share, and subscribe to the channel. This will help the algorithm, which will help our videos to spread more. I'm going to get more looks and more people hyped up and pumped about the Torah, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's all about the Torah. We really want to get the people into the Torah and wanting to learn and study Torah. And we want to build up our community, because it's all about spreading the Torah and all these aspects of different things that we will be dealing with. So please like, share, and subscribe if you like the video, if you want to hear more information, if you believe in Torah knowledge being spread and you want to help spread Torah knowledge. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we will make all this happen because we're trying to build up the Israel community. Ani Yisrael. I got a very powerful episode of criminal justice that's going to come up. Hopefully you guys liked the criminal justice from this past Monday or Tuesday. Oh, I'm getting my days confused. From this past Tuesday, we did the criminal justice, and it was dealing with the other part of the press conference that Carmelo's family had. I actually made sure I try to put everything together because I wanted to get all the stuff together that we had on that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you didn't see it, just go to the channel. You'll see it right in there. I got a whole playlist set up called Carmelo Anthony Case Playlist. I believe that's what the playlist is called. Hold on, let me see. We can see right now what the playlist is called. Instead of me saying I believe and I hoped and all this kind of stuff. Let's see exactly what the playlist is called. All right, so let's get it right. So we're going to get to it right now so we can see what this playlist is called. Hold on. I want y'all to see the channel. All right. I'll get to it right now. All right, so this is actually the video. It was a real good video. Wish I would have added that. That looked crazy. Oh my goodness. But so you see all of my take videos for the podcast are all lined up in one, but I also have different playlists as well. So if you go on a playlist thing, you'll see I got the Carmelo Anthony Case playlist where it's racism versus justice. I got the, of course, the criminal justice. If you want to look at all the criminal justice. So if you want to look at all the breaking news shows, racism, Judaism, Torah Portion Fridays, rules of engagement, questions and answer Wednesday. I got to change that to question and answer Thursday because it's going to be Thursdays now. The Daniel Penny verdict. So I got a lot of different playlists there and a lot of stuff for you guys to take in. So yeah, so we're going to go from there. All right. Let's get out of this. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So, like I said, if you guys want to check out any of the stuff, you know, it's right there on my page at any time. All right, so also, I'm saying that. Also, I want to talk about our sponsors. First sponsor is Sister Linda. I want to talk about her product she has. She has the beard shampoo bar. This joint is fire. It's really nice. It has like little combs in it where you can push the soap through your beard, make sure your beard get nice and clean. Also got the Royal Beard Butter. If you want your beard to be nice and soft and bouncy and have a sheen to it, this is a really, really good product. I use this product personally all the time. Every day I use this product to make sure my beard is nice and groomed. And she also has different things for women as well. So it's not just something that's only for the men, but she also has stuff that's for women. So please check out her information. Is all in the description below. It's all in the description below. Also, we got the Art of Clothing stand up in the building. Hold on, I'm going up too far. Got the AOC in the building. He actually got a new version of his shirt that's coming out where the wings look immaculate. You know, he showcased it on his Instagram yesterday. So please check out Brother Alex. He got all the good things for you. He got some upcoming events too. So check out his Instagram to get all the information on that. And while you're doing all that, you just want to go and have a word with from our sponsor by showing his commercial, The Art of Clothing. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to jump right into this. Want to make sure we get all our sponsors and all that stuff out the way, because I know when we get caught up in this information, I don't want to not get it to you guys. So we're going to do this. I might do a little different next time, I'm thinking, because I feel like I spend so much time focusing on that stuff, and sometimes people might think, all he trying to do is let us know about products and stuff. And then they might log off or don't even look at it. So I said I might get into what we're going to do, and then at a certain point, bring in one of the sponsors and talk about them, and then get into some more stuff we're going to do, and at a certain point do that. I just got to figure out exactly how to do it, especially since we're live. So take some pointers. You know me, I'm always studying different people, trying to figure out how to get things just right. So we're going to get it together. At any rate, what I definitely get into this video with our brother. So let me open up the video so you guys can see it. All right, so we started a little after this, but I want to go back to some of the stuff that he was saying so we can touch back on that, and then we're going to go further.
Origin of the name. However, most of the scholarly consensus comes around the fact that the celebration usually fell on what was, once again, a Germanic speaking areas called Ostarmanaf, the fourth month.
Okay, yeah, it is. We was talking about Ostarmana, right? And notice he's not going to tell us what this. Well, let's get into what he's going to say about this name, because so far we done debunked the thing about Ishtar. That was debunked. Ishtar and this other deity he's talking about, he basically got the same name. So let me go. I want to go back to Ishtar and Astara, because he goes to the Germanic word. He doesn't deal with the name being passed down from generation to generation in different places, right? He doesn't deal with that. He just deals with this idea of it being a Germanic thing or Germanic thing. And he doesn't really deal with the notion of where of how this name was passed down through these different people. So we're going to touch on that.
There is only one source for anything on Ostara, and that's the Christian celebration of Easter and the Babylonian goddess Ishtar have about as much to do with each other as Steven Seagal has to do with the beach seagull. Beyond the fact that seagull and seagull sound similar, they're completely unrelated, and the same goes for Easter and Ishtar.
Now, we already shown, if you want to get more into that, just go back and look at the first episode of this series. We already shown that that isn't true. Ishtar celebration is done the same time that Easter celebration is done. And I don't mean in the springtime. I mean Ishtar celebration is done during the equinox, during the spring equinox. So is Easter celebration. Both of them are done during the spring equinox. Unlike Pesach, which he tries to unite it with, which is what the Israelites were celebrating. Pesach or Pesach is according to the calendar, the Hebraic calendar, and it's not going to always be on a Sunday. So that's what they were celebrating. So when he brought out last week, remember he brought that out about them celebrating Pesach, he was right. They were celebrating Pesach. And Pesach or Passover is done during a certain month on the Hebraic calendar, but on the Gregorian calendar, it always changes, but it's never always on the same day. Easter, just like Ishtar's celebration, is always done a certain time dealing with the spring equinox. It's always done at a certain time. Just like Christmas is dealing with the solstice, the winter solstice. It's always around that time, right? So when he says it doesn't have anything in common, he's talking about Pesach. Because if he deals with Easter and the celebration of Ishtar does have a lot in common. That's why he's trying to just make it like it's just about a name. So we can get more into that. You just got to go back and look at that. I don't want to get all caught back up in that. But you could go back and look at the information on that to see that that's what that is. But let's go further.
The other claim is that the name Easter comes from the Anglo-Saxon Germanic springtime goddess Ostara.
Now, then he talks about Ostara, right? But he doesn't deal with all the different names that Ishtar had. Ishtar didn't just have one name. And he knows this. Because, again, our brother is really, really, really heavy on religion.
Are there any questions? Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
All right, so now I'm about to look up again Ishtar, because I don't want that connection to disappear, because that is the connection. He wants to play it off like, oh, you're just trying to rhyme names. No, we're not just trying to rhyme names. So I want us to really get into Ishtar so we can see the many names that Ishtar has. Ishtar has a lot of names. Let me see. Let me go back. So Ishtar has a lot of names. And I don't want us to miss that. thinking that Ishtar doesn't have a lot. Ishtar has a lot of names. So let's look at this. All right, so even though Ishtar's primary legacy is from the Sumerian tradition, is the role of fertility, she evolved, however, to more complex characters surrounded by myth and death, disaster, goddess, contradictory, right? She's associated with Venus. Remember how Venus is the goddess of love. The goddess of love is Venus, right? But she went by other names. So let me see what's I'm gonna say the many names of Ishtar. So let's look at that. As I don't want us to lose out on her names, because she had many names. Now, Ishtar is the most commonly recognized name referring to the Babylonian Assyrian goddess, right? Inanna is Sumerian name for the same deity. So in Babylon, they called her Ishtar. In Sumerian, they called her Inanna. Same one, same person, same being. I want us to get this understanding. Because he's like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with this, that, and the other. No. Look, Astarte or Astarte, right? Oh, that sound like Ostara. See how the name's just evolving? Astarte is the Canaanite version of the same deity. So now we done seen Sumerian. We done seen Canaanite and Babylonian. Same deities, right? Also, they called the Ashtoreth, right? Now, all of these are the different names. So when they begin to speak of her in Europe, where he's going to go, and they begin to speak about her in this part of Europe, and they call her Ostara, it's the same names, people. Everybody try to pronounce it in their own way, just like Yahshua's name is Yahshua. But then when they got to England and all that place, they started saying Eosis and Jesus. That was not his name. His name was Yahshua, but they tried to translate it in their own way, and they came up with a different way of saying it according to their vernacular. So you see the same thing happening right here. And the deity is worshipped in the same way. So that's why when he says it's not, I'm like, what is he talking about? Now we're going to see. We're going to see where he's going to turn around and he's going to try to say some stuff about, no, it's not the same. And he's going to say all this different stuff, right? So we're going to go back to him. Let's go back to him and open it up, as I want you to see what he's going to say. He's going to show a movie clip real quick, then he's going to finish his statement.
Until the day that Jesus Christ crawled out of his stinky old grave, folks would paint eggs with dandelions and paprika for her to exchange as gifts at the first sign of spring in her name.
Now, see how he brought up about the eggs? These guys that research these shows, and y'all, and those of y'all who watch these shows, y'all should know, right? I have not watched this show, but I keep seeing clips from it, which makes me feel like I should watch it just to see what it's talking about. Because these guys that make these shows, they make them this way for a reason, right? Because they trying to prove a point. So they make them this way for a reason. And they do a lot of research. Not saying that everything they said is 100%. But when they get into witchcraft and paganism in the show, it's like they be spot on with stuff. They might don't be spot on when it comes to representing the Torah or anything like that, of course. But when it comes to representing something that's dark or evil, oh, they be spot on with it, right? And this show does that, right? And we gonna see him talk about decorating the eggs. Well, guess what? Even though he put in that part about decorating the eggs, and it might not have been what they was doing in Babylon, but guess what they did? We seen last week, Ishtar was represented by eggs. She was represented by eggs. We see that in the picture last week. So when he says, oh, it ain't no connection, what are you talking about? You got a spring connection and eggs. But I'm going to let it keep going. We're going to keep rolling with it. Wow. They got a freebie.
They still do. They still do. On my festival day.
They got a freebie on me with that commercial. But anyway, hopefully, since they got that freebie, they help it go viral. But anyway, see, like, oh, they still keep my day, so forth, so on, right? They put some different truths, especially when it comes to crazy stuff people doing, right? But he's trying to say this is not true. So I'm going to let them finish this out so we can get to what he's saying.
Days, they still feast on eggs and rabbit and candy, and they do it in my name.
However, there is only one source for anything on Ostara, and that's a writing from the 7th century by the English monk St. Bede.
All right, so now this English monk, St. Pete, or whoever that he says wrote something about Ostara, right? Think about this. He's trying to say, oh, this name Ostara just came about at that time. But if Ishtar was also known as Estarat and Estarete and all those other names that had that same sound to it, how do we not know if that's what he's writing about? How do we not know that that's what he's writing about? Just like in the Bible it say Isaiah. We know his name is Isaiah. But if you look at it in New Testament, it say Isaiah. And it's spelled all funny. I could say, well, technically, it just was at this time. The guy just wrote Isaiah. There was no such thing as an Isaiah. No, we all know and understand that that's talking about Isaiah. That's just the way that they pronounced it at that time in their language. Or as they wrote it the best way, or their translation. So that could be the same thing with this monk that he's talking about. So that doesn't dispel anything, but he throws it out there and then he doesn't really deal with it in hopes that it's just dispelling it to you.
There is no other reference in any other sources, Christian or pagan, to Ostara.
Of course, if he mispronounced, that's what I said, if he say Isaiah, there was no reference to Isaiah. We don't know what this book Isaiah is. We all know it's the book of Isaiah. We all know and understand that. How you got, come on now. I know you gotta be able to, you're not gonna have me thinking that you really don't get this. I want to keep playing the thing in a hole. I let a little clip. This brother heavy on religion. Brother heavy on religion. So I know you know better than this. Come on now. I know you know better than this. Let's keep going though.
In fact, the name Ostara has an etymological connection to the ancient Germanic word ostaro, which simply means springtime.
Now, ostaro. So I want to look at this because I don't like just taking people words for it. You know that I don't like doing that. So let me see. Let's look at this, because the brother is heavy on religion. So let's look at this. All right, so I want to go to, he said Ostaro. Did he mean Ostaro? No. Find out. Let me see. This Ostara. Germanic God. All right, so this is what he was talking about. Now, he's saying this is a Germanic God, right? Or goddess. So my whole thing is, where you think the Germanics would have got it from? Didn't they get everything from people of old? The Germanics people came out and started following everybody, right? All right, so Astara, also known as Estare or Estre, is a Germanic god or goddess of the spring or dawn, right? Look where she celebrated at. The spring equinox. When is Easter celebrated? The spring equinox. When is Ishstar celebrated? The spring equinox. Is talking about the same deity. But he's saying it's not. Let's keep going. And look, she's also depicted with symbols like rabbits, hares, eggs, and spring flowers. Remember on the clip? That's why I said when they dig in stuff, they really dig into it. Now he said it came about, they started talking about it a certain time. Let's see if he got that from Wikipedia, where they began dealing with this as Germanic language descended from Proto-Indo-European. All right. It has been debated whether the goddess was an invention of Bede, particularly before discovery. I wanted to find that name that he was saying meant springtime. Let me see. Ancient Germanic. Oh, see, it's not saying. That's not saying that word he said at all. He said esterol or something like that. Yeah, you say that about no esterol? I don't know. You might be pulling a Billy Carson on me. Well, he's going to spell some stuff, so let's let him spell it. After he spell it, then we probably will be able to figure it out after he spell it. So let's let him spell it out first instead of going there with it. Because after he spell it, we should be able to get it. So I want to let him spell it first and go from there. So I'm going to let him spell it.
Because of this conspicuous lack of anything concerning who Ostara was, how, why, where, or when she was worshipped, or really anything else about her, a good portion of scholars think that either Bede made her up, was misinformed, or misspoke when he mentioned her.
All right, so that's what we saying in Wikipedia where they was talking about beads making it up. The people, but again, if it was all he did to me, all he did was took what was already being done and just gave a Germanic word to it. It's the same word. It's the same word. He just spelled it. It's pronounced the same way. It's dealing with the same thing. So trying to disconnect it is like, no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I'm gonna let him go.
So where does the name Easter come from then? While reading the literature, you'll find that there really is little agreement on the origin of the name. However,
hey, Shalom, Aki. Shalom, Aki. Got Moray Catriel in the building with us tonight. Shalom to you. We're trying to dig into this thing. The brother trying to prove that Easter isn't pagan. He's failing, of course, but I want to really, really tear apart this whole argument, Aki. I don't want to leave no traces of it because, you know, as everybody knows, this brother is heavy on religion.
Are there any questions? Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
He heavy on religion, Ak. So I want to make sure I sew everything up. I don't want to leave no rock unturned. So he's going into languages, talking about when something was first said and all of that. And I'm like, dude, ishstar was said way before your Germanic languages came about. So if they were celebrating ishstar during the spring equinox, and then the Semitic people were celebrating somebody with a similar sounding name on the spring equinox, and the Canaanites was worshiping the same goddess by the same type of name on the spring equinox, then why are we going to believe the Germanic people didn't get it from them? Where did the Greeks and the Romans get all the information from anyway? They got it from the Egyptians and the Babylonians. So why are you trying to gaslight me to make it like these guys just came up with something on their own? Oh, he said he only sounds knowledgeable to the uneducated and those absent of the Holy Spirit. Exactly, Aki. But because this guy, like nowadays, like the brother who bought this to me, he was like, well, this is before he destroyed Billy Carson. But since this guy dismantled this guy called Billy Carson, then it seemed like everybody just runs with it. So now it's been a resurgent of people looking at his information because he easily dismantled Billy Carson. So they like, oh man, this guy heavy on religion. We gotta watch him. So people really be listening to him. And I'm just like, dude, what are you saying right now? Watch this. I'm gonna let you see it. Well, you gonna trip, okay? If you ain't see the one from last week, cause this is part 2, you gonna trip. Watch this.
most of the scholarly consensus comes around the fact that the celebration usually fell on what was, once again, a Germanic speaking areas called Ostarmana.
All right, so Ostarmana, right? So now he's gonna say this is where Easter came from. Hold on, I'm let him build it up. Watch this.
The 4th month on the Old English calendar. Resurrection Sunday almost always fell on Yostaromanath.
All right, so Resurrection Sunday. Notice what he says, people. I want y'all to pay attention to what he says. Because when he first started the video, he said that the Israelites or the disciples of Yahshua wasn't celebrating ishstar or any of those things. That wasn't even a name. It actually was Peshka. And when you go to the Bible and you look at it, it actually says Peshka. It don't say Easter. And he tried to show how Easter was put in later through King James and them. So I'm like, okay, I got you. I'm not in disagreement with you with that. Right? It is Peshka. Peshka and Pesach is the same thing. It was celebrating Pesach. So that lets everybody know that the Talmudim, the disciples of the Rabbi, the disciples of Yahshua HaMashiach, was celebrating Passover, which is Pesach. They wasn't celebrating Easter. That was a name that was placed in there later, right? So that lets everybody know that it wasn't Easter. But then he goes to use Easter to say, oh, Easter Sunday is always the same time. Like, dude, they wasn't celebrating Easter Sunday. Like, what are you talking about? What's happening right now? So I'm like, I'm glad he's bringing this out, because what he's showing is the spring equinox is when Ashtarmanoth was done. The spring equinox is when ishstar, Estarate, and what he said, Astara, through the Germanic language, the same deity, this same goddess was worshipped on the spring equinox, the same Sunday that you're talking about. All of them was worshipped that day. So I don't understand how he says there's no connection. I'm not, but I'm going to let him finish.
And so the name of the month, shortened to the beginning of the word, stuck as the name of the celebration.
All right. So he's saying it comes from ishstar Manath, which means Easter month. Now, who's making the thing with the sounds now? Like, come on now. Now, he gonna try to get on people about saying ishstar and Easter and saying that's just like saying Steven Seagal and Beach Seagull, and how they just sound alike. So this sounds alike, but he just got finished saying you can't just go with stuff that just sound alike, but then he just going to give us something because it sounds alike, and we just supposed to run with it. But I want to look at this term that he's using right here, because I want to see what he's with this right here. Just want to so hold on, let me get it back. I want to look this up right here. I want to make sure I'm spelling it just right. All right, so let's look at this. I want us to look at this. Let me go to the big screen. So most people's study habits are based on deductive reasoning, not inductive reasoning. If you are a credible researcher of history and the scriptures, you're going to look at things inductively. This is clearly what he's doing. Yeah, so Dr. Alexander Hislop already covered these things in the two Babylons. Boom! Hold up, I want to bring that book out. See, you bringing some different context to the show, Aki. And I had that book too, the two Babylons. I haven't heard of that, read that. I mean, heard that title in a long time. The two Babylons, right? This is an awesome book. Definitely, if you want to be able to understand a lot of these pagan days that people are celebrating nowadays, and you want to see their origins, definitely get this book right here. It will help you to be able to see their origins, where you'll be like, okay, that's where that comes from, right? Because a lot of times we really don't see where stuff come from, but that'll really get you to be able to see, okay, that's where that comes from. Check this out. Now, Estormanath, or as he says, the 4th month, which we would say is April. He said, I want to go to I don't like using Wikipedia. And that is really, really small. Gotta make that bigger. That big enough. Now it's too big. I'll make it a little smaller. Nope, y'all still can't see. You know what? Maybe if I hate when that happens and I can't get it. Some websites just aren't meant for every thing. Hold on. There gotta be something else. Bam. I'm surprised AI not on here explaining everything to me. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good size. Yeah, y'all can see that. All right, so chapter 15. So he's talking about Betty, B-Day. That's this monk that the historians try to say came up with the name ishstar. But I want to see, because he says ishstar means the spring month. All right, so Estormanath has a name which is now translated as Paschal month. Paschal month, and which is once called after the goddess of their names, Ishstar. So he said, he's telling us who it is. The guy's telling us who it is, right? It is an Art of Huffy. So even though they now call it Paschal month because they trying to pass it over as Passover, but we know Passover does not always happen in April. Passover does not always happen according to the Gregorian calendar because it's off of the Hebraic calendar. So it's not going to always be, and the day of the Mashiach's resurrection is not always going to be on a Sunday. Because if you're going by the Passover, and you're going by the preparation day where they prepared for the Passover, it's going to be 3 days and 3 nights later. And then that would be when the Mashiach resurrected on the evening as the other day was coming in. So if you're looking at it that way, I believe this year, according to how we did it, it would have been on a Wednesday, but it definitely wouldn't have been on no Sunday. It's not going to always be on a Sunday. That's just not going to happen. But let's go back out. Estormanath. All right, that's Reddit. Let me see. Look at this. Like, people put it right in our face. And they just want you just to not believe it. I couldn't believe he actually made a thing talking about he was going to debunk this idea about Easter being pagan. I still can't believe this, right? So it says, have you ever wondered where the word Easter come from? Let me introduce you to the Germanic goddess of the dawn and spring, ishstar. Again, which we know, and this because they want to try to make it like they just came up with all this stuff instead of admitting that they got the stuff. Look at Stolen Legacy. That's another book, right? Stolen Legacy. It shows that all the stuff that we see modern Europe do, that they try to make it like they came up with, they got from Egypt. They got from Babylon. Like, so this idea that they just came up with it and it happened during this time period is ridiculous to me. Like many other Anglo-Saxon deities, Ishtar was a victim of the expansion of Christianity as pagan deities was replaced with monotheistic religion. Yet in the 20th century, modern paganism rediscovered her with one of the 8 Wiccan. Wow, look at this. Wiccan. Y'all know what Wiccan is, right? Wiccan is dealing with witchcraft. This talking about witches, right? Y'all with me? Y'all see this? Wiccan festivals. You know what one of the other Wiccan festival is that Catholicism converted over and tried to make it holy, like they did with Ishtar? Is one called All Hallows Eve. And then the daytime they call it All Saints Day. That's Halloween. That's also known as a Wiccan festival. So this guy right here, this is who he wants us to believe just made this up. Instead of acknowledging that he is going back and linking it up with different things. He said this guy made this up. So it says, the problem is that following this text, I can hardly find anything about the goddess for more than 1,000 years. But all you gotta do is say, hold up, that name sounds like Ishtar or Eshtara, right? Hello, same one. I don't understand why that was so hard to be able to figure that out. The next mention of Astara is in 19th century in Jacob Grimm's 1835 Teutonic mythology, in which he writes of an oral tradition of her worship. So, of course, that was from the Grimm's brothers' tales and all that stuff. So, there's a lot of stuff, and this is what he tried to base it off of. But, of course, once you disconnect it from the source, then, of course, you're going to be able to downplay it. But I covered a lot of this in the first one, so I don't want to. I want us to go a little further than where we was at. I want to go a little further. So let's go a little further. Go back to him.
Easter. Think of something like the 4th of July as the common name for Independence Day in the United States, or Cinco de Mayo in Mexico, which celebrates the anniversary of Mexico's victory over the French on May 15th, 1862. These two events have less to do with the month than they do with the fact that the event they're remembering happens to fall on that month. And so the name...
What are you talking about? The 4th of July is focusing on something that happened on the 4th of July. It's not focusing on the month. It's focusing on it's in the name. The 4th of July. It's in the name. It's not focusing on a whole month. It's not focusing on all of July. Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, is focusing on the event that happened on that day. So you can't equate that with somebody naming a whole month after an event. They didn't name July after what happened on the 4th of July. They didn't name May or Mayo after what happened on Cinco or the 5th of Mayo. It was always Mayo. It was always July. They focus on what happened. So again, he tried to gaslight it and switch it around, but I'm not going to let him.
Derives from the timing. Christians starting to call the celebration of Resurrection Sunday Easter probably stemmed from a similar premise.
But I thought you said they called it Pescha. See, you gotta watch him. When he first started this, if you go back to on my video, the first video I did about this, and you go back and look at it, he said they called it Pescha, which is Pesach, not Easter. So why did they begin to call it Easter if it was Pescha? Why they start calling it Easter? And only in these translations in Europe. Why? But I'll let him finish his deduction.
Okay, while that might make sense, how on earth would you justify and rationalize the Easter bunny? I mean, surely that's a pagan symbol of fertility.
Watch this, IK. If y'all don't know, but I know it's getting late. You probably turned off, but if you still on there, IK, watch what he try to say about this Easter bunny.
Isn't it? I mean, we all know bunnies have a lot of babies, so doesn't it just make sense that they're from some form of pagan fertility cult? As a pagan fertility icon?
Now, the dude knows better, but he's playing it off to the audience because he feel like the audience ain't going to know. They not going to really look into this. But we all know that this comes from Egypt. And I think it even said that ishstar also had a representation of the rabbit as well. Well, watch this.
Well, in reality, the first instance of an official Easter bunny happened in 1572, which is nearly 500 years after paganism had really any foothold in Europe.
All right. Oh, my goodness. All right. He keep trying to go back to prove specific things about Europe. We not just looking at Europe. We look at the day as a whole. Because what people would do is go back and look at stuff and say, wait a minute. What else did they used to do in ancient times? Right? And they began to incorporate those things into it. So it wasn't just, oh, Europe. I know you want Europe to be the center of everything, but it's not just about Europe. It's not just about Europe, right? So let me see that. I want to do something real quick. It's not just about Europe. I know we want to make Europe the center of everything. So if y'all on here, y'all watching us, y'all like what y'all watching, y'all like the information, like the conversation you see with me and a brother, every now and then a special guest or a brother or a friend of mine. This is my brother. We'll pop on and we'll have conversation as we look at this, and this night is no different. So if y'all enjoying that, please like, share, and subscribe so we can get this message out to more people, because this is something that need to be talked about, right? I want us to see. I'm just gonna put ishstar and the hair. All right. Let me see. I'm just gonna put goddess of fertility and rabbits. Now, this is going to be bringing up what he's against, because he already tried to. He knows you going to find this stuff. He know that it's flooded with this stuff, so he don't want you to look at this. Right? He wants to look at it differently. In ancient times, ishstar was worshipped during the spring equinox, a time of renewal and rebirth. She was often associated with return of warmth, driving away winter witches, and the hair was a symbol of her fertility and abundance of spring. Right? So the hair represented fertility and spring. Other goddess, while ishstar is the most prominent, some deities like Freya and Norse mythology are also sometimes linked with hares and rabbits. In ancient Egypt, Unut was a hare, and she was also the goddess of fertility. So we see that hares or rabbits often do have goddesses of fertility that is linked with. And it's not just the information that he's talking about, right? So let's get back to him though.
Coupled with that is the fact that it wasn't even originally a bunny, but an Easter hare, which is actually a different animal entirely that can't even breed with rabbits.
So now who's making a play on things? People see a hare or a rabbit or a bunny, they all look at them as the same thing. Come on, let's not play this semantics right now. I mean, you know what you're doing, because again, you are heavy on religion. You know what you're doing.
Are there any questions? Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
You know what you're doing. I'm not gonna let you roll with that. You know what you're doing.
Bunnies. In fact, if you do enough digging, you'll find that the idea of the Easter bunny being a pagan symbol comes from a passing comment in a writing of the 19th century folklorist, a guy named Jacob Ludwig Karl Grimm.
Now that was the the book about Grimm, the Grimm brothers. They had the vampires, all that stuff in the book, Transylvania, all that kind of thing. So he's like, oh, it just come from folklore, because the guy Grimm, he wrote all these books, so forth and so on, right? And that's what he's trying to say. But what he's not telling you is about the Norse deity. What he's not telling you is about the Egyptian deity. Both are deities of fertility, which says, and both dealing with, and both having the hare or the rabbit representing fertility. He's leaving that part out, and he's only speaking about specific things to try to throw you off.
Grimm had no real evidence to this claim, but suggested that there might be a connection to the fertility of bunnies and the common theme in ancient paganism to fertility cult.
But it is knowledge of these things, because you got the Norse, we just looked at it. The Norse religion in Egypt, and the Egyptian religion. It is oh my goodness. This guy. Hold on 1 second. I want y'all to see this. We're going to go back to this. I'm going to see if they're going to have a link. Y'all see this right here? I don't like using Wikipedia, but we just going to use it for right now. Y'all see this? This is the Egyptian deity, Unat, right? Sometimes she had a lioness head, but she's also represented as a hare or a rabbit. You even see it in her hieroglyph, where it has the bunny or the hare or the rabbit right there as part of her name. Let me see if it was anything else I could look up about her. Look, the hair goddess. This is who she was, right? So the guy, when he says the guy just came up with it on his own, and he ain't got no proof or nothing about fertility and rabbits and this and that. What are you talking about? They even linked it up. When we think of Easter, and the Easter bunny is the main topic of the festivity of the play. In ancient Egypt, the rabbit or the hare was the goddess were not. The Egyptians venerated the hare because of its swiftness and keen senses. The hare form was also taken by other deities who were associated with otherworld. And it's saying, it talks about it. Let me see if I can make this bigger. That might be too big. I want y'all to be able to see it. So they even let you know about what is dealing with, right? Autumn Ray. Look what it says. It says, to interpret the meaning of this passage, one remembers the hare can swim. The Egyptian creation came about in a watery abyss of Nun, out of which rose the primordial mound, where newly born deities manifested. To dwell in a lake of Wanat means to live renewed. Right? So renewed, right? So what does it mean when it say renewed? It's like being born again, being renewed, right? Being revitalized, to be reborn. So this is dealing with life, just like with the egg in life, right? To live forever and ever, renewed after death, right? So this showing that the rabbit was a symbol of life. What does the springtime symbolize? Rebirth, life, revitalization, right? It's the same thing. So when he says there's no connection, it's many connections. A lot of people don't even know about this Egyptian connection. It's many connections. So what is he talking about? Like, that's why I said we gotta watch it when he's up there and he's making this thing and he said, "Oh, it ain't no connections." And we gotta watch him.
The ties to the origin of the Easter Bunny to paganism are scant.
Get out of here. We just debunked that too. Let's keep debunking it. I've got a little bit more time before we get up. If I had to get off of here, let's just keep debunking them.
What we can say is that there really is no evidence of the bunny being an overly prominent symbol of fertility in any one ancient pagan group regarding cultural, religious, or celebratory practices.
We just proved that was wrong. We just proved that was wrong. So before y'all run around just believing in these people because they sound smart, like Moray Catriel said, right? Before you just believe in these people because they sound smart, so it seems like they on point and they know this and they know that, we gotta really look at it because they might don't have no clue about what they tell about, or they might be misleading you.
And references. However, rabbits and bunnies are a common springtime animal in the northern hemisphere.
Now, why would they be a springtime animal? Why would they be a springtime animal? Okay, let's see what he says.
And rabbits, being a social animal who travel together in packs, as well as their mating and birthing seasons being more frequent than other animals, means that they appear more numerous in springtime when they're out and about after hiding all winter long to.
So he said they be in hiding all winter long. So when you see them in the spring, that's why they're associated with the spring. Come on, son. They deal with, we just seen it. I don't even got to keep going over it. We seen it.
Avoid the cold. You see them more often during the beginning of the spring when Easter happens to take place, and therefore their association with the religious festival can really only be tangibly tied to the 16th century Germans connecting these animals with Ostermanoth, which...
No, we're not going to let you try to tie it up in a nice bow. But we see different deities with pagan origins doing. We're not going to let you just tie this up with a nice bow. No.
Eventually was referred to as Easter, as both the religious event and the animal were associated with the springtime. Easter eggs also have a very shaky, direct link to paganism. You can certainly find eggs of various sorts being tied to pagan cultic rituals.
Now, notice he couldn't debunk that. He didn't debunk the other stuff. He just tried to throw some shade on it, try to find a gray area, right? Which we not going to let him do. But now he's going to have to come clean about the eggs, but he's still going to try to slip around that.
Rituals, but only as much as other foods were likely tied with pagan rituals.
So now it's like, oh yeah, but it's like other foods that was tied with pagan rituals. Wait, come on.
What I mean by that is that eggs are a common food across cultural and religious spectrums.
Just because eggs is a common food around, they didn't focus on eggs. Nobody just focused on eggs as the end all, the be all and end all, right? Nobody focused on eggs like that. He knows this, but he's playing his game, but we're not going to let him get away with it because we know that this brother is heavy on religion.
Are there any questions? Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
He heavy on religion, so we not going to let him just ride with that. We know better. We know better. We not going to just let you ride with that. Let's keep it moving.
So eggs feature no more prominently than meat does in this regard.
Now, we disproved this and debunked this last week. So if you want to hear about that, you can go back and look where I actually went and showed the deity. I looked up ishstar and eggs, and because I was trying to find a picture, because I remember it was a picture of ishstar with eggs, right? But it was ishstar, one of Ishtar's other many names, but it still was ishstar, and it had the eggs. So we disproved that eggs don't have anything to do with fertility cults. It just was just a food that was eaten, a commonly eaten food. It just happened to be eaten during the time that they celebrate the spring equinox.
Our earliest reference to Easter eggs actually comes from the end of the 13th century, when Edward Longshanks, or King Edward I, decorated hundreds of hard-boiled eggs with golden leaves to be handed about to his family and friends during the Easter season. This is as far back.
So he does this to hand it out to his friends and family in the Easter season. You said, okay, yeah, he did that on Easter, but it doesn't mean anything.
As the tradition goes, and nobody in and around the time connects this custom to any sort of cultural, ethnic, or religious practice other than Edward wanting it to be done for Easter. There's evidence of Easter.
Why? Why did he want it to be done for Easter? Why he ain't just do it any old time? Why it had to be done on Easter? See how he evades those different questions? Why did it have to be done on Easter? If it didn't really have nothing to do with Easter, it just was just something that he wanted to do. You know, he just wanted to do it. So why did it have to be done on Easter?
Easter eggs, or something like them, being made in the early Middle Ages in other areas of Europe. That is true. But the reason for this is that during Lent, when people would fast...
So now he said, well, it is true. Other people was doing it too. It wasn't just him. It was a lot of people. But it's because of Lent. It's because of Lent. Another day that don't have anything to do with the ancestors or the Torah or any of the days that we should be celebrating. So I don't know why he thought you mentioned Lent. That was going to make me say, oh, because of Lent. So what?
Fast from meat, dairy, and eggs for 40 days leading up to Easter meant that eggs were often hard-boiled in order to preserve them for longer periods of time. If you can't eat the eggs, but your chickens keep on laying them, hard-boiling them would preserve them longer than just leaving them alone to rot. Dairy and meat were expensive during this time, and even for a celebration like Easter, this might very well be out of the range of the populace's budget or availability. Eggs, however, were common, and we see them being eaten as a customary food during the holidays. The abundance of eggs, due to them being hard-boiled and saved for 40 days, meant that they existed in excess.
Now, he says all this about the eggs, but notice he's not giving us no proof of them. This is all his philosophy. This is all his philosophy, right? He's not giving us no proof of any of this. This is all his philosophy. But let's see what it actually says about eggs and the spring equinox. So I'm gonna look up spring equinox, and then we're gonna slash eggs. Oh, they talking about balancing eggs. I'm not accepting no cookies. They talking about balancing the eggs. So this must be, see, what he try to get is different traditions come about later, right? Like this tradition about balancing eggs, right? This tradition gonna come about later, about balancing eggs and so forth. It's not something that they was looking to say, oh yeah, they're gonna be balancing eggs, right? So I want y'all to notice this, because this is something that people came up with or saw. But just like with everything, traditions or different things come about. It don't mean that's what's going on, or that's what was going on forever about it. You just see that these things was associated with it. That's all you see. You see these things associated with it. Watch this. Oh, we can't hear. Hold on. I gotta unmute it. I thought I did. Here we go. The rumor is that during the spring equinox, let me see what it says. You can balance an egg to stand upright during the spring equinox. Behind this myth is that Earth's gravity is aligned with the angle of the axis perpendicular to the sun. The Earth and the Moon will also be aligned to balance gravitational forces. As a result, eggs should be able to stand upright. In reality, Earth's gravity does not change at any time of the year, nor do celestial alignments have any effect. You can make an egg stand upright on any day at any time. This myth originated as a tradition during the first day of spring on the Chinese calendar. So we see all that stuff right there, right? I'm trying to come out of this. I don't want you to do nothing. I'm on out. I'm out. So that's something that they saying, but we not worrying about balancing eggs, right? I don't even know why. I just looked up that and he just automatically said egg balancing, right? So again, look what it says. I want us to hear this. I want to see this, right? I want to see where it talks about predating. Because it does. It predates, right? Let's see. AI love to come up with stuff to show us. Watch this. AI says, the spring equinox is often celebrated with eggs, with traditions like balancing them upright for good luck and decorating them as symbols of fertility and rebirth. In some cultures, egg balancing is believed to be easier during the equinox. So we just seen that, and they was asking us about that. So let's go back past the bad balancing. Symbolism of eggs. Eggs have been associated with fertility and new life. And what was that saying they used to say? What comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So it's dealing with new life, making a natural symbol for spring equinox, which marks the beginning of a new season. So what I'm saying. So when he's saying all this stuff, I'm like, what is he talking about right now? So I'm going to try, because it's almost over. I'm going to try to get this so we can just finish out the rest of his video and we can just go from there. So we're going to finish the rest of this out.
In and around the time of Easter. We also have evidence that these eggs were decorated as festive pastimes during the holiday celebrations.
Okay.
All of this is a far cry from anything overly pagan in substance. The reality...
Now, I get what he said as far as not wanting to call it pagan because it's dealing with fertility, but the whole idea is it has its root in paganism, because the pagan or the fertility cults that he wants to separate Easter from was there, and they was doing this, and everybody keeps saying we got it from them. But him and other people that want to keep doing it keep saying, no. Even though you say you got it from them, we're going to say it could have came from this. And it could have came because we want to be able to celebrate it. Sorry, Charlie, or our brother Wes, but it came from this. But I'm going to let him finish out because he tried to sound so practical. But we done debunked all of the things he said done been debunked. We done debunked all the things that he said. We did to him what he did to Billy Carson.
is that the origin of both the Easter Bunny and Easter eggs are far more mundane and innocent than you might have thought.
One of those crowns I have here
Oh my goodness.
Fell. I put some like kind of a...
That doesn't make for a very exciting or sensational headline, but when the evidence is actually evaluated and the history is taken into consideration, these do in fact appear to be the origins of our modern Easter traditions.
All right. So notice he didn't really go on. He just tried to show time periods when stuff was spoken of, this, that, and the other. But once you tied in, notice he tries to separate Europe from tying in things with Babylon and all this other stuff. But as our brother pointed out, he pointed out well, and he pointed out well, is this book right here, The Two Babylons. This book is awesome, and it does a great job of pointing it out. Thank Moray for being on here with us tonight, getting that through. We pretty much dismantled Brother Wes' video. So if y'all want to finish watching the end of it as he still try to tie all the things that we debunked together, y'all can. Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. How you feeling, Pastor? Oh, we got all the big wigs in the house right here. Moray Catriel, Pastor Hennon in the house. Okay. That's what's going on. That's what's up. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yeah, so this book right here, that Brother Catriel, Moray Catriel pointed out, I'll tell y'all, check it out, The Two Babylons. I forgot about this book. It is an awesome book. So check it out. It will help you to understand a lot of things. Yeah, so check it out. We about to end it for the night. Just wanted to touch on all of those different things. I'm glad that the family popped up in the building. It's always good to know there's other people up with me. That I'm not up by myself. But I want to get this information out to y'all because this brother tried to for those people that's still on the fence in Christendom and thinking about Easter and all this stuff, this brother tried to bring y'all back into that. And I just wanted to let you guys know that no, he's wrong. But I felt like as I was telling Moray, I was dealing with it because this brother is heavy on religion. Because he's so heavy on religion, people will believe what he's saying, you know, because again, he's heavy on religion.
Are there any questions? Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
But anyway, I'm going to bid you all. We about to close up. I was about to end it up. We're going to close up, but we got a new artist of the week. We're going to roll with them for a while. I don't know this sister name. I want to get this sister's name, but she's leading this choir, and it's a Hebraic choir in the land of Israel. And it's from Messianic Ministries, and it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And when I heard it, I said, I gotta get him some light on this. You know, because you know on my show, I always try to shed some light on different people that a lot of us don't know about. So I got the description in below, and they're called Praises of Israel. And this song is called Lift Me Up.
רק בך אמצא תקווה, אתה חזק גם בסערה, כשהכל בוער סביבי, אפתח בך, אתה מרים אותי גבוה מעל כל הקשיים, אני סמוך ובטוח החום כבר בידיך, אז אני רץ למטרה. רק בך אמצא תקווה, אתה חזק גם בסערה. כשהכל בוער סביבי, אפתח בך, אתה מרים אותי, אתה מרים אותי גבוה מעל כל הקשיים. אני סמוך ובטוח בזרועותיך אלוהים.
Amen, amen, amen. And again, got a correction. This is Praises of Yisrael, and the song is Marim Oti, which means you lift me. Or Marim Oti, you lift me. And this is from a live concert that they did. They made a video out of it. It was done in 2019 in Jerusalem. Again, so I got all the description below. I got all the information below in the description if you want to be able to get the CD, hear more beautiful songs that I'm quite sure they had. I seen the sister singing. She was singing in Hebrew. She was breaking it. I said, oh, I gotta show this. I gotta show this. So give them some love. And that's it for tonight. I appreciate y'all for being on there with me and tolerating me. Again, I know it was late, but I wanted to make sure I got this information out to you guys. And I just want to bid you all Leila Tov, which means good night and shalom.
Shema Yisrael